What if I told you that the key to changing your life isn't willpower, but something much simpler and scientifically proven? Have you ever tried to change a habit and failed? This book reveals the secret no one has told you. Today, we're going to talk about a book that might be the answer to that question you've always asked. Why is it so hard to change? The book is called The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. And before you think, oh, just another self-help book, know that this one is different. It goes beyond cliches and dives deep into the science behind our automatic behaviors. You see, habits govern nearly every aspect of our lives, from the way we brush our teeth in the morning to the decisions we make at work or how we react to stress. Yet most of us don't fully understand how they work. We often blame ourselves for not having enough discipline, when in reality, the problem lies in misunderstanding the mechanics of habits. Here's an interesting fact. Studies show that 40% of our daily actions are performed on autopilot. Yes, you read that right. Almost half of your life is controlled by habits, good or bad. These automatic behaviors shape who we are, how we perform, and even how successful or happy we feel. And today, I'm going to show you how they work, and even better, how you can hack this system to achieve the life you want. If you've ever struggled to stick to a New Year's resolution, quit smoking, or even just wake up earlier, this video is for you. By the end, you'll have a clear understanding of how habits function and practical tools to transform them. If you want to understand how to turn small changes into big results, keep watching until the end. By the way, if you want to read the full book, I've left the link in the description. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is a habit? Charles Duhigg explains that every habit works as a three-part loop: cue, routine, and reward. Sounds simple, right? But this structure is incredibly powerful and forms the foundation of nearly everything we do without thinking. Imagine this. You're at work feeling a bit tired in the afternoon and automatically head to the coffee machine or grab a chocolate bar. That cycle, feeling tired, cue, grabbing something sweet, routine, and experiencing a burst of energy or pleasure, reward, is a habit. And it repeats because your brain loves shortcuts. Our brains are wired to conserve energy. And once a behavior becomes automatic, it gets stored in a part of the brain called the basal ganglia, freeing up mental resources for other tasks. Duhigg tells a fascinating story about this. He mentions an experiment with rats in a maze. Scientists placed food at the end of the maze and observed the rats' behavior. At first, their brains were highly active as they navigated the maze, trying to figure out where the food was. But after repeating the same path several times, the rats' brains began to use less energy. Basically, they went into autopilot mode. Their neural activity decreased significantly, indicating that the behavior had become automatic. This happens to us too. When we form a habit, our brain turns off conscious thinking and delegates everything to autopilot. For example, think about driving a car. When you first started learning, you had to consciously think about every action: checking mirrors, signaling, pressing the brake. But now, after years of practice, you can drive while listening to music or having a conversation. Your brain has automated the process. But here's the catch. You don't need to completely eliminate a bad habit, you just need to replace the routine while keeping the same cue and reward. Duhigg calls this the golden rule of habit change. It's not about erasing the habit entirely, it's about reprogramming it. Take this real-life example from the book. A woman realized she went to Starbucks every afternoon not for the coffee, but for the feeling of social connection. So instead of buying coffee, she started chatting with colleagues during her break. Same cue, afternoon slump, new routine, socializing, same reward, feeling connected. Result: she saved money, strengthened her relationships, and still got the energy boost she needed. Do you see the power of that? Now imagine applying this principle to your own life. Let's break it down further. Say you have a habit of scrolling through social media when you're bored. The cue might be boredom. The routine is opening Instagram or TikTok, and the reward is the temporary distraction or entertainment it provides. To change this habit, you don't have to give up the reward entirely. Instead, you could replace the routine with something healthier, like reading a few pages of a book or taking a quick walk. Over time, this substitution can rewire your brain and create a new, more productive habit. Now let's move on to another surprising truth. Not all habits carry the same weight. Some habits are more influential than others. Duhigg introduces the concept of keystone habits, which are behaviors that, when changed, trigger a cascade of positive changes in other areas of life. Think of keystone habits as the domino effect. When you knock over one domino, it sets off a chain reaction that knocks over the others. Similarly, certain habits can create momentum that transforms your entire lifestyle. For example, exercising regularly might sound like just one habit, but it often leads to improvements in other areas, such as better sleep, healthier eating, and increased productivity. Duhigg gives a compelling example of this with Alcoholics Anonymous. Many people assume that AA works because it helps addicts stop drinking. While that's true, the real magic lies in the program's ability to teach new social habits. Participants find a community, learn to ask for help, and replace old patterns of isolation with genuine connections. These new habits end up impacting other areas of life like mental health, confidence, and relationships. Another incredible example comes from the corporate world. The company Alcoa, famous for manufacturing aluminum, was facing serious safety issues. When Paul O'Neill became CEO, he decided to focus on just one thing: improving worker safety. At first glance, this might seem unrelated to profitability, but O'Neill understood the power of keystone habits. By prioritizing safety, he created a culture of operational excellence that rippled through every area of the company. Employees became more engaged, processes became more efficient, and communication improved across departments. Result: profits skyrocketed. So what would your keystone habit be? Maybe waking up early, meditating, practicing gratitude, or even something as simple as making your bed every morning. Research shows that people who make their beds daily are more likely to report higher levels of productivity and happiness throughout the day. Identifying and focusing on your keystone habit could change everything. Now let's talk about something bigger: how habits shape not only individuals but entire communities. You see, habits aren't just personal, they can influence groups, organizations, and even societies. Duhigg explores this idea by examining historical and modern examples of collective habits. Take Rosa Parks, for instance. In 1955, she was arrested for refusing to give up her seat on a segregated bus in Montgomery, Alabama. Her arrest sparked the Montgomery bus boycott, a pivotal moment in the civil rights movement. But what many people don't realize is that Rosa Parks wasn't just a brave individual, she was deeply embedded in her community. She was part of religious groups, social clubs, and local associations. These connections allowed the boycott to gain traction quickly because people already had established habits of mutual support and collaboration. Duhigg also analyzes modern cases like the success of Facebook and Twitter. Both platforms exploit social habits, sharing content, liking posts, interacting with friends, to create digital addictions that keep billions of users engaged. Think about it. Why do you check your phone so often? It's not just curiosity, it's the anticipation of a reward. Whether it's a notification, a message, or validation in the form of likes, these companies understand the habit loop and design their platforms to keep you hooked. This proves that habits aren't just personal, they can change companies, cultures, and even entire countries. For example, consider the role of habits in shaping consumer behavior. Companies like P&G and Target use data analytics to identify patterns in shoppers' habits and tailor their marketing strategies accordingly. They know that if they can tap into existing cues and rewards, they can influence purchasing decisions without customers even realizing it. To dive deeper into this, let's explore how habits are formed in organizations. Duhigg shares the story of how the NFL team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, transformed their performance under coach Tony Dungy. Instead of focusing on complex strategies, Dungy simplified the game plan to rely on automatic responses. He trained his players to recognize cues on the field and respond with pre-programmed routines. This approach reduced decision-making time and allowed the team to act instinctively under pressure. The result was a dramatic improvement in their performance, proving that habits can be a game-changer even in high-stakes environments. Another fascinating example is the story of how the retailer Target uses data to predict customer behavior. By analyzing shopping patterns, Target can identify when a customer is likely to experience a major life event, such as pregnancy. Armed with this knowledge, they send targeted promotions for baby products, subtly influencing purchasing decisions. This strategy works because habits are deeply ingrained, and once triggered, they lead to predictable actions. It's a powerful reminder of how habits can be leveraged, not just individually, but on a massive scale. Now let's reflect on the ethical implications of habits. Duhigg raises an important question. If habits are automatic and driven by cues and rewards, how much control do we really have over our actions? He explores cases where individuals acted out of character due to ingrained habits, highlighting the tension between personal responsibility and the subconscious nature of habits. For instance, a man who accidentally killed someone while sleepwalking, demonstrates how deeply habits are rooted in our brains. While most of us won't face such extreme scenarios, these stories underscore the importance of being mindful of the habits we cultivate. So what's the takeaway from all of this? First, understand the habit loop. Identify your cues, routines, and rewards. Then find ways to replace bad routines without losing the rewards. Second, look for your keystone habits. What behavior, if changed, could create a positive domino effect in your life? Third, remember that habits aren't destiny. You have the power to reprogram them. Charles Duhigg ends the book by saying something that deeply resonated with me. Change is possible, but it requires patience, self-compassion, and a lot of practice. Let me leave you with one final thought. Habits are like water. They shape the landscape of our lives over time. Sometimes they carve paths that lead us to beautiful places. Other times they create ruts that hold us back. The good news is that you're the architect of your habits. With awareness and intention, you can redirect the flow and build a life that reflects your deepest values and aspirations. So what will be the first step you take today? If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and share it with someone who needs these insights. Oh, and if you want to read The Power of Habit, the link is in the description. See you next time. One last point before we wrap up. Habits are not just about personal growth, they're about creating systems that work for you. Whether it's building a morning routine that sets the tone for your day, or establishing rituals that enhance your relationships, habits are the invisible threads that weave together the fabric of your life. When you take the time to examine and refine these threads, you'll find that small, consistent actions can lead to extraordinary outcomes. Think about the ripple effect of a single habit. Waking up 10 minutes earlier might give you time to meditate, which could reduce your stress levels, leading to better decision-making throughout the day. Or replacing a sugary snack with a piece of fruit might improve your energy levels, allowing you to exercise more frequently. Over time, these small shifts compound into transformative changes. The beauty of habits is that they don't require monumental effort. Instead, they thrive on consistency and repetition. And remember, change doesn't happen overnight. It's okay to stumble along the way. What matters is your commitment to getting back on track. Every time you choose the new routine over the old one, you're strengthening the neural pathways that support your desired behavior. With time and persistence, the new habit will feel as natural as the old one once did. Finally, don't underestimate the power of community. Just as Rosa Parks's connections fueled the civil rights movement, your relationships can play a crucial role in reinforcing your habits. Surround yourself with people who inspire and challenge you. Share your goals with trusted friends, or join groups that align with your aspirations. Accountability and encouragement from others can make all the difference when motivation wanes. So as you embark on your journey of habit transformation, keep these principles in mind. Understand the science behind habits, leverage the power of keystone habits, and embrace the process of gradual change. Remember, you're not alone in this. Countless individuals and organizations have harnessed the power of habits to achieve remarkable success. Now it's your turn to do the same. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of the power of habit. I hope this video has inspired you to take action and rethink the role habits play in your life. Until next time, stay curious and keep growing.